Morning sunlight filtered across the battered streets of Priestella, revealing a city that survived catastrophe but had not yet escaped its aftermath. Waterways still overflowed in some districts. Stone buildings bore cracked walls and shattered windows, and survivors moved with exhaustion rather than relief. But there was movement everywhere: repair teams clearing rubble, healers treating the wounded, and guards patrolling for any remaining witch cult activity. The air carried a bruise-like stillness, the kind that follows a battle won at tremendous cost. Subaru stood in the center of the plaza surrounded by allies, his legs still unsteady after the ordeal in the Dragon Vein chambers. Amelia rested in a sheltered medical tent behind him, asleep and recovering from the mana drain she suffered deep underground. Subaru checked on her constantly, every few minutes, unable to rest until he saw her breathing steadily. Each time he looked at her peaceful sleeping face, he felt both overwhelming relief and crushing guilt for not reaching her sooner. But Amelia wasn't the only one missing. Rem's unconscious form still lay safely in their temporary lodging, untouched by the witch cult, unchanged, but still locked in a slumber that refused to break. Subaru visited her too, brushing her hair back gently, whispering that he would fix everything someday. But Rem could not hear him, and Subaru felt the weight of both girls, one safe yet exhausted, the other asleep and unreachable, pressing deep into his heart. Felix, who had taken command of medical operations across the city, approached Subaru with a soft sigh. "You look like a ghost, Subaru. I told you to rest. You're going to collapse if you keep moving." Subaru tried to wave off the concern, but his arms sagged more than he intended. "I'll rest after I'm sure the city is safe. And after Amelia wakes." Ferris narrowed their eyes. "You always say that, but you need to sleep before you drop like a sack of potatoes." Subaru attempted a smile but failed. "I'll try. Just after this meeting." Because the leaders of every allied faction had convened. They stood gathered in the repaired hall near the central district. Krush, Anastasia, possessed by Echidna, Wilhelm, Reinhard, Julius, Ricardo, Mimi, and more. Subaru entered with Garfield, who despite injuries insisted on staying by his side. The hall buzzed with tension, as though everyone feared that even in victory, another calamity waited just outside. Krush was the first to speak, dignified despite her weakened state. "We owe our survival to your efforts, but Priestella is far from safe. Multiple districts remain flooded, defensive water towers remain unstable, and the witch cult remnants have scattered." Wilhelm added, "We must act quickly. If the cult regroups, the city may face a second assault." Ricardo growled in agreement. "My people have been tracking them through broken tunnels, but they're crafty little devils." Subaru clenched his fists. He had thought the worst was over after defeating Regulus and sealing the Spirit Eater, but the atmosphere in the room said otherwise. Anastasia, rather, Echidna wearing Anastasia's body, stepped forward lightly. "Let's not forget the other archbishop who slipped through our fingers." Her lips curved into a too pleasant smile. "Lust is still at large." Julius's expression hardened. "Capella. She escaped before we reached her stronghold. Whereabouts unknown." "And she did not leave quietly," Ferris muttered. "Dozens still suffer from her curse. Some will never recover." Subaru felt a flare of anger. "Then we have to find her, now." Echidna giggled softly. "You're always so dramatic, Natsuki Subaru. But you're right. She's dangerous. And there's more." The room grew still. Echidna continued, "According to recent reports, not all witch cult units have fled. Some remain inside the city, and they're not acting independently. They're protecting someone." Garfield's ears twitched. "Protecting who?" Echidna's eyes glittered. "A Sin Archbishop who never appeared during the assault." Subaru's blood ran cold. "You mean another one?" "Correct," Echidna said smoothly. "One who directs operations from the shadows. One whose authority warps entire cities without ever needing to show their face." Ferris gulped. "Don't tell me. Sloth?" "No," Echidna said with a derisive laugh. "That one is long dead. I'm referring to someone much more active." Subaru's heart dropped as she uttered the name. The Archbishop of Gluttony. The hall fell silent. Subaru felt ice in his lungs. Gluttony. The one responsible for Rem's state. The one who stole her memories and name, leaving her in a coma-like shell. His voice cracked. They're here? In Priestella? Julius nodded gravely. The witch cult always deployed multiple archbishops for major operations. It is no surprise Gluttony joined the attack. Garfield bared his teeth. And we didn't see him? Gluttony rarely shows themselves, Wilhelm said. Their authorities let them operate unnoticed. Subaru trembled. If they're here, then Rem's killer, an unfathomable mixture of fury and dread erupted inside him. Ferris touched his shoulder gently. Subaru, don't lose yourself. But Subaru shook them off. I'm not losing myself. I'm finding the one I need to kill. Silence. Even Echidna's smile faltered. Subaru met every gaze in the room with burning eyes. I'm going after Gluttony. Julius stepped closer. Then I will go with you. Garfield slammed his fist into his palm. Me too. Ricardo grinned. Sounds like a hunt. Echidna tilted her head. Well now, things just became interesting. Crush nodded weakly. If Gluttony truly remains, finding them must be our highest priority. Subaru's breath trembled. Rem. Sleeping in a bed, unaware of everything. Rem. Stolen from him. He clenched his fists. I'll save Amelia. I'll save Rem. And I'll finish what this city started. The room stirred with renewed purpose. Priestella's battle was not over. Subaru left the war council with Garfield and Julius at his sides, though neither said a word at first. The plaza outside was filled with the groans of construction, the clatter of broken stone being hauled away, and the distant cries of survivors looking for loved ones. The atmosphere was heavy, yet Subaru felt something sharper beneath it. Purpose, rage, a sense of direction he'd been denied for too long. Icky Gluttony. The Archbishop who stole Rem's name, memories, and very existence. The one who walked away laughing while the most important girl in his world collapsed, forgotten by everyone but him. The thought of them being in the same city as him, close enough to reach, made Subaru's blood run hot. We're going to find them, Subaru said through clenched teeth. And this time, I won't let them escape. Garfield cracked his knuckles, fangs flashing. Damn right, boss. We'll tear that bastard apart. Julius walked more quietly, his expression controlled but tense. The Archbishop of Gluttony is unlike the others. Their power does not rely on destruction, but consumption. Memories, names, identity. Approach them recklessly, and you'll lose everything you are. Subaru didn't flinch. I know. That's why I'm not going alone. As they reached the medical tent where Amelia rested, Subaru hesitated. Her soft breasts were steady, her cheeks now flushed with warmth instead of deathly pale. Beatrice sat beside her, stroking her hair. Ferris hovered nearby, giving Amelia a final mana infusion. Beatrice turned toward Subaru immediately. You're leaving again, aren't you, I suppose? Subaru nodded. I have to. Beatrice's expression tightened into something between sorrow and frustration. Subaru, Betty just got Amelia back, and now she has to worry about losing you too? He kneeled beside her, placing a hand over hers. I promise I'll come back. But Gluttony is the one who did this to Rem. If they're here, this is my only chance. Ferris sighed, ears drooping. Just don't die. Amelia will wake up soon. If you ain't here, she'll panic. That thought stabbed Subaru in the heart. Amelia waking to find him gone. But if he didn't go now? He glanced at Rem's sleeping form, lying peacefully in a nearby cot. Her face was unchanged, beautiful, soft, loved. But her chest rose and fell without recognition, without memory, without herself. Subaru gently brushed her bangs aside. I'll bring back what you lost, Rem. For a moment, he allowed himself to imagine her smiling, calling his name, laughing again, living again. Then he stood. His choice was made. He would kill Gluttony. Before he left, he checked on Amelia one last time. Her eyes remained closed, her breathing quiet. but she reached out unconsciously, fingers twitching toward him. Subaru's heart ached. Ye Amelia, I'll come back, I swear it. Once outside, Ricardo and Mimi were already waiting with a scouting team. Apparently, word of Subaru's mission spread quickly. Ricardo clapped him on the back. We've got reports, strange shadows moving through the western drainage canals. Survivors said their comrades suddenly forgot each other's names. Subaru stiffened. That's them. Mimi hopped up and down. We're gonna fight the scary memory-eating meanies? Count me in. Julius stepped ahead. We must proceed carefully. Gluttony often splits itself. 3 identities, 3 bodies, 3 authorities. Either Roy Alfard, Liebat and Kaidos, Rachnera. Any one of them could be present, Garfield snarled. I don't care if it's one or all 3. I'll smash them. But Subaru felt something cold settle in his spine. He remembered the look in Gluttony's eyes when they devoured Rem's name. That delighted cruelty, that amusement at human suffering. These weren't just enemies. They were monsters wearing human skin. Subaru asked Ricardo, do we know where exactly they were seen? Somewhere underground, Ricardo answered. We got a scout who barely made it out alive. He's shaking too bad to talk, but he keeps mumbling fog and laughter. Fog, laughter, hunger. Subaru knew that description too well. Before they could head out, however, someone unexpected appeared. Anastasia, or rather, Echidna, wearing her body. She approached gracefully, looking entirely too composed for someone walking into a gluttony hunt. My, heading out without me? She asked with an amused tilt of her head. Subaru glared. What do you want? To accompany you, of course, she replied cheerfully. You're facing the Archbishop, who feeds on knowledge. As a spirit of wisdom, I simply must observe. Garfield scowled. You're creepy. Flattery will get you nowhere, she replied. Julius sighed. She may be useful, as much as it pains me to admit. And that settled it. Subaru turned to the group. We move now. Every second gluttony remains hidden as another second someone loses their memories. Or their name. Ferris rushed to him at the last moment. Subaru, wait. They pressed a vial into his hand. Drink this if you start losing consciousness. It won't save you if you lose your name, but it'll keep you alive long enough for us to drag you out. Subaru nodded. Thank you. Then he looked at everyone gathered. Garfield's fierce loyalty, Julius's calm resolve, Ricardo's battle readiness, Mimi's eager determination, and Echidna's unsettling curiosity. He exhaled slowly. Okay. He faced the dark, broken streets of Priestella's western district. Let's go find Gluttony. They moved swiftly, passing under collapsing arches, through flooded alleys, into the parts of the city few dared enter after the attack. The air grew heavy with moisture and something else, an odd metallic scent like rotting memories. Subaru's heartbeat quickened. Then a low, eerie giggle echoed through the shadows. A chill ran up Subaru's spine. Garfield lowered his stance. Julius readied his rapier. Echidna smiled. Oh, they're close. Another giggle, and a whisper. Hungry, hungry, hungry. Gluttony had found them. The chilling whisper slithered through the shadows like a living thing, making the hairs on Subaru's neck rise. The group halted at once. The air thickened, colder than the underground tunnels had been. Colder even than the mana-drained atmosphere around the Spirit Eater. It wasn't physical cold. It was the absence of life, the vacuum left behind when names and memories were severed from existence. Garfield's claws slid out with a sharp crack. Boss, they're near. Really damn near. Julius stepped forward, lowering his stance into practiced elegance, rapier shifting with faint light. Prepare yourselves. Gluttony does not announce themselves unless they are playing. Ricardo sniffed aggressively, nostrils flaring. I smell nothing. That's what scares me. Mimi hopped nervously from foot to foot. It's too quiet, too dark, too creepy. Can we hit it yet? But Subaru barely heard them. His mind was focused on one thing only. Rem lying unconscious, stripped of name and memory. The image of her blank expression the moment Gluttony struck burned itself behind his eyes. The sound of that sadistic laughter still echoed in his skull. And now the same laughter drifted across the ruined chamber. Hee hee hee. Someone's thinking of us. That makes me happy. A small figure stepped into the faint torchlight. Ragged hair, a childlike grin, eyes shining with savage, innocent cruelty that no child should possess. Button Kaidos, the one who devoured Rem. Subaru's muscles locked. His throat tightened so hard he couldn't breathe for a moment. You! The words tore from him like a physical wound. Button Kaidos giggled, bouncing playfully. Ah, you remember me. That's always a treat, Tildy. Most people forget themselves when they meet me. Garfield roared, I'll tear you apart, and lunged only for Julius to intercept him with a swift arm. Wait, this is too easy. And he was right, because a second voice drifted from behind them. Are you forgetting someone too? A tall, thin figure leaned upside down from the ceiling beams like a grotesque puppet. Roy Alphard. And from the shadows near Subaru's feet came a third voice. Soft, cracking, whispering the same words Rem once said when she first lost everything. Who am I? Who are you? Subaru froze. Rachnera. All three gluttonies were here. Be boss, we're surrounded, Garfield muttered, teeth grinding. Ricardo lowered his stance. This ain't a fight, it's an ambush. Echidna, unusually serious for once, clasped her hands behind her back. What a delightful lineup, all three fragments of gluttony together. Trouble. Julius exhaled sharply. We need a formation. Now. Before they could react, Baten Kairos clapped gleefully. We were waiting for a rematch with Natsuki Subaru. You're our favorite toy, you know. You always scream so nicely. Subaru's stomach flipped. Rage and terror fought inside him. Echidna leaned toward him. Calm yourself. If you lose your head, you lose your name next. Subaru clenched his fists. I'm not here to lose anything. I'm here to take back what you stole. At that, Baten Kaidos gasped dramatically, placing a hand over his heart. Ah, Rem-chan. We ate her name, didn't we? So tasty, so sweet. Her memories were like honey. Subaru lunged, only for Julius to block him again. Subaru, stay clear-headed. But if you rush, you will die. Or worse, forget Amelia. Forget yourself. The mention of Amelia hit him like a punch. Subaru steadied his breath, forcing the burning inside him into focus. Gluttony watched them with childlike excitement. Oh, well, Tilda, well, Tilde, well, Tilda, if you want something we ate, you must give us something in return. Baten Kaitos chirped. Echidna arched a brow. They want to bargain? Roy Alphard dropped elegantly to the ground. Names, memories, identities. We collect them. And we trade sometimes. If amused, Subaru glared. I'll never bargain with you. Oh? Roy tilted his head. Even if it means saving the sleeping girl? Subaru's chest tightened. Rem's face flashed behind his eyes. But before he could speak, Rachnera's voice croaked, Don't trust us. We don't play fair. We never do. Her arms bent in unnatural directions as she crawled closer, like a broken insect. Subaru flinched, not out of fear, but horror. Because Rachnera spoke as though she, too, was a victim of gluttony's authority. Echidna whispered, They consume even themselves, fragments competing for dominance. The ground shook lightly. Garfield positioned himself between Subaru and the three figures. Enough talk! Who's getting smashed first? But Gluttony merely giggled, spreading out, circling the group. Let's play a game, Baten Kaitos chimed. If you catch us, maybe we'll give back what we ate. Maybe. Julius muttered, This is bad. They won't fight head-on. They'll try to isolate and devour one of us. Ferris's vial felt heavy in Subaru's pocket. He had only one chance if things went wrong. Subaru stepped forward. I won't run. I won't play your games. I'm ending this. For a moment, just a moment, Gluttony's expression shifted. Then Roy Alphard smiled, showing teeth too sharp for a human. Come, Subaru, show us the flavor of your name. The shadows burst into motion. Julius clashed first, blades singing. Garfield leapt with a roar. Ricardo lunged. Mimi unleashed blasts of magic. And Subaru ran straight toward Kaitos. His heart screamed Rem's name, even if she couldn't hear it. His fist clenched so tight it burned. This is for her! The battle against gluttony. The battle to reclaim Rem finally began. The moment Subaru lunged at Lai Kaitos, the battlefield exploded into chaos. The destroyed Western District was already half flooded, the cracked stone streets covered in puddles that reflected distorted torchlight and shadows. Gluttony's laughter echoed through every broken alley like a child playing hide-and-seek in a graveyard. But this was no game. Every wrong move meant losing your name, or your very soul. Kaitos skipped backward with impossible speed, dancing across the uneven rubble as though it were a smooth ballroom floor. Subaru's fist cut through empty air. The Archbishop giggled, tilting his head. Ah, you're slow. You really are slow, Subaru-kun. And here I thought you'd be more fun after all that suffering, Tilda. Subaru's chest tightened, anger flaring hot. Shut up! But before he could strike, a shadow dropped from above. Roy Alphard crashed down behind Subaru with a predator's grace. Names! Names! I smell so many names, Roy whispered, voice trembling with hunger. Which one shall I taste first? Garfield intercepted with a thunderous roar, claws sparking against the stone as he slammed Alphard away. Pick on someone who ain't gonna be food, you freak! Meanwhile, Mimi charged straight at Reknera, who twisted her limbs like strands of string, dodging in a way that made Subaru's stomach lurch. Julius moved to assist Mimi, wind spiraling around his blade as he clashed with Reknera's contorted movements. Subaru tried to regain focus, but Gluttony's voices layered over each other, high, low, broken, delighted, until he could barely distinguish them. Their words tangled around his mind, each sentence designed to distract, confuse, unbalance. Will you die? Will you forget? Will you scream for us? Show us your flavor, Natsuki Subaru. A chill crawled down his spine. Subaru! Julius called sharply, slicing through a tendril-like appendage that whipped toward him. Do not listen to them. Their words are poison. Subaru snapped back to reality. He forced himself to breathe, to focus, to remember why he was here. Rem, her sleeping face, her lost smile, her empty gaze when her name disappeared. He swallowed hard. I'm here to bring her back, not to lose myself, he whispered. But Gluttony was relentless. Kaitos darted forward suddenly, faster than Garfield anticipated. Subaru saw the movement too late. A small hand reached for his throat. Gotcha, Tilda! Subaru's heart seized. But Ricardo appeared in a blur, slamming into Kaitos with a powerful tackle that sent the Archbishop tumbling. Kid, don't stare off into space, Ricardo barked. These bastards ain't gonna wait for you to be ready. Kaitos rolled to a stop and bounced cheerfully to his feet, completely unharmed. That was rude, doggy man Tilda, I almost had him. Ricardo bared his teeth. And I'll tear you apart before you touch a hair on his head. But Gluttony wasn't trying to kill them yet. They were circling, separating, dividing the group. A tactic Subaru recognized from their encounter in the sanctuary. Damn it, they're trying to isolate us, Subaru shouted. Correct, Echidna remarked from the side, unfazed. Gluttony never attacks directly. They bite pieces off, memories, names, teams. Then stick together, Garfield shouted. But things were already spiraling. Reknera shrieked, her voice cracking. One in of you has no name taste. Why? Her gaze locked onto Subaru. His breath hitched. Julius stepped in front of him. Subaru has no taste you can devour. Look elsewhere. Kaitos clapped. Ooh, so the little void from earlier is still useless to us. That makes you special. You know Tilda, a man with no mana, no name flavor, no sweet taste of memory. But so much despair. Subaru's blood boiled. Try touching me again and see what happens. But Gluttony didn't need to touch him. They needed to touch anyone else. Suddenly a tendril shot toward Mimi. Mimi! Julius cried. but Mimi hopped aside with a squeal. Too slow, yucky shadow worm? Still, the near miss made everyone tense. Garfield growled, "We gotta take at least one of them down. Ain't no fighting three." Julius agreed. "We must isolate one part of gluttony. If even one fragment dies, the collective weakens." Their eyes shifted instinctively to the smallest target, Kaitos. Subaru's heart pounded. He's the one who took Rem's name. I'm going after him. He sprinted forward and Kaitos laughed with pure joy. Yay! Come catch me! He dashed backward, leading Subaru deeper into the ruins. Subaru! Julius shouted, but he was too late. The ground cracked beneath Subaru's feet, an illusion? A trap? Subaru stumbled into a narrow alley as stone collapsed behind him, separating him from the others. Dust filled the air. The world went silent. Subaru coughed violently, waving the dust away. When it settled, Kaitos stood at the far end of the narrow street, illuminated by ghostly moonlight. Completely alone with Subaru. He. Now we can play properly. Subaru's chest tightened. He had fallen right into Gluttony's trap, but he stood tall anyway. Good, Subaru said quietly, because I want your full attention. Kaitos' grin widened impossibly. Oh, are you angry? Angry enough to kill? Subaru's eyes darkened. For Rem, he whispered, stepping forward, I'll do whatever it takes. Gluttony giggled, delighted. Then let's begin the feast. The air-cracked shadows surged and Subaru faced the monster who stole Rem's life alone. Subaru stood alone in the narrow, broken alleyway, walls cracked, stones jutting like jagged teeth. The moonlight barely spilling through the collapsed rooftops overhead. Every path behind him was blocked by debris. The only exit lay ahead, where Lai Kaitos stood swaying on his heels like a child humming a lullaby in a graveyard. Subaru's breath burned in his lungs. This was the moment he feared and craved in equal measure. The one who stole Rem's memories, Rem's name, Rem's existence, the one who reduced her to a hollow sleep, was right in front of him. So close he could feel the echo of her loss pounding in his chest like a second heartbeat. Kaitos clasped his hands behind his back, rocking cheerfully. I like this place. So small, so cozy. Perfect for whispering secrets or eating them tilde. Subaru clenched his jaw as fury surged. Give it back! Give what back? Everything, Subaru roared, voice cracking. Give back Rem! At the sound of her name, Kaitos tilted his head in confusion, then delight, then mock sympathy. Oh, you're still obsessed with that girl? Even though she forgot you? Even though everyone forgot her? Subaru's fist tightened so hard his nails broke skin. Because I remember, that's enough. Kaitos clasped his hands together. Ooh, that's sweet. Painfully sweet. Do it again. Tell me how much it hurts, Tildy. Subaru took a step forward. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to end you. Kaitos giggled and extended an arm. The shadows bent around him unnaturally, splitting and reshaping like liquid darkness. Subaru flinched. He wasn't prepared for an actual fight. He had no mana, no abilities, no combat prowess to match someone like this. But he wasn't going to run. Not this time. You don't have to fight Tilda, Kaitos chimed. Just let me nibble on your name. A teeny bite. You won't even miss it. Subaru gritted his teeth, trying to steady his breathing. I'm not giving you anything. Oh? Then maybe you'd prefer a trade. Kaitos leaned forward, eyes sparkling with anticipation. Give me something valuable, and I'll give her memory back. Deal? Subaru froze. What kind of trade? Ooh, so interested. Kaitos clapped excitedly. How about your memories? Or maybe your name? Or maybe someone else's name, Tilda? Subaru went cold. You want me to sacrifice someone else? To save Rem? Of course, Kaitos beamed. That's what love is, isn't it? Destroying others just to save the one you want? No. Subaru's voice turned low, firm. That's your definition, not mine. Kaitos pouted dramatically. Boo-horing. I wanted you to become a monster. Then we could have been friends. Subaru's heart throbbed painfully. I'm nothing like you. You could be Tilda, Baten Kaitos whispered. All it takes is one tiny decision. The shadows behind him writhed, forming jagged tendrils. Subaru backed up instinctively until his heel touched broken stone. No escape, no backup. His allies were still fighting Roy and Reknera on the other side of the collapsed streets. Subaru's mind raced. I can't beat him. I can't run. I can't die. So what can I do? He looked at Baten Kaitos again. Really looked. Beneath a manic smile and childish movements was something eerily familiar. A pattern. A rhythm. Subaru didn't need to win a fight. He needed to survive long enough for Julius, Garfield, or Ricardo to reach him. He needed to stall. So Subaru lowered his fists and exhaled. Tell me something. Ooh, asking a question? Fun. When you ate Rem's memories, did she say anything before you stole everything from her? Baten Kaitos paused, and his smile twisted. She said, Subaru. Subaru's breath caught, and then she stopped. His heart shattered, but even through the pain he saw it. Baten Kaitos' attention shifting, memories surfacing within his stolen feast of identities. Subaru whispered, You remember her. I remember all my food, Baten Kaitos snapped, his grin turning sharp. But she tasted special. Oh yes, she loved someone so much, it left a flavor. Subaru trembled. Who? Baten Kaitos leaned closer, lips curling. You. Subaru's knees nearly gave. He had known, but hearing it, her love tasted like sweet despair Tilda. You should be honored. Something inside Subaru snapped. She isn't your food, he growled, and she isn't your memory. She's her own person, and I'm taking her back. Baten Kaitos shrieked in delight. Yes, yes, that's it. That flavor, that fury. Now the meal can begin. He lunged. Subaru barely dove aside as a tendril slammed the earth where he stood, shattering stone. He scrambled to his feet, dodging blow after blow. Every strike aimed at his throat or eyes, every movement too fast to track. Baten Kaitos sang as he attacked. Eat, 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 your heart, your name, your despair. Subaru rolled behind a broken pillar, chest heaving. You can't eat what I won't let you touch. Baten Kaitos appeared on top of the pillar instantly, bending backward like a puppet. You can't stop me forever. Maybe not, Subaru panted. But I don't need forever. Baten Kaitos paused. Eh? Suddenly a roar echoed through the ruins. Stone exploded from the side. A massive figure slammed down between Subaru and Baten Kaitos Garfield. He bared his fangs. You ain't having a feast today, you squirmy turd, Baten Kaitos giggled. Oh, new food. Julius appeared next, rapier gleaming. Subaru, stay behind me this time. Ricardo and Mimi emerged from another path, cornering Baten Kaitos. Subaru exhaled a long, shaking breath. I stalled him, just long enough. The Archbishop of Gluttony twisted his neck with excitement. Ooh, a buffet! Subaru wiped his eyes, stepped behind Julius and whispered, For Rem, let's end this. The ruins trembled as the full force of Subaru's allies converged on the alley. Dust swirled in the moonlight, broken stones scattered underfoot, and the air grew thick with tension so sharp it bordered on suffocation. What moments before had been Subaru's desperate struggle for survival had now become a battlefield where the strongest fighters of Priestella gathered to face one of the deadliest enemies in the kingdom. Baten Kaitos twirled eagerly, eyes gleaming like stars reflected in blood. So many Tilda! You all smell delicious! Shut your mouth, freak, Garfield snarled, muscles swelling as his limbs shifted into a near-beast form. I'll crush you before you get a single bite. Julius raised his rapier, the faint glow of wind mana swirling like a halo around the blade. Subaru, stay behind me. Your role is support. Do not deviate. Subaru nodded, though his heart hammered with the urge to charge straight at Baten Kaitos. Anger pulsed through him like wildfire, but he swallowed it down. Rage couldn't win this fight. Strategy could. Ricardo cracked his knuckles as Mimi hopped onto his shoulder, already charging a fire spell. Boss, you want this creep boxed in or blasted apart? Both, Subaru answered. His voice shook, but his resolve did not. Do whatever it takes. We end it here. Yay! Mimi cheered, little tail wagging. Bot and Kaidos clapped. Oh, what fun! It's like a festival. Come on, let's dance. Then he vanished. Garfield reacted instantly, smashing his fist into the rubble where Bot and Kaitos appeared a split second later. The Archbishop dodged with inhuman flexibility, back bending nearly in half as he giggled. Mimi unleashed a burst of flame, but it passed through an afterimage. Julius followed with a wind slash, slicing stone but missing flesh. Bot and Kaitos moved like a nightmare given form, too fast, too fluid, too unpredictable. Subaru gritted his teeth. He's faster than Garfield, faster than Julius. He's playing with us. Spread out, Subaru yelled. Don't let him pin you down. But even with spacing, Bot and Kaitos struck everywhere at once. He darted behind Ricardo. I'll eat you first. Ricardo spun with surprising speed for his size. Not today, kid! He swiped with his claws, but Bot and Kaitos leapt atop Ricardo's arm, skipping along it like stepping stones before Garfield barreled into him, forcing him away. The ground shook, stones split. But Bot and Kaitos barely seemed injured. He simply giggled, wiping imaginary tears from his eyes. Ah ha 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 ha, you're all so lively, so tasty, so full of memories I want to chew. Julius advanced with Mage Knight precision, striking with pinpoint accuracy. Do not let him near Subaru. Subaru felt a painful twist in his stomach. They're protecting me because I'm the weakest one here. But that wasn't true. He had something none of them had. He knew Gluttony's patterns. He'd met them before. He'd lost everything once because of them. And he wasn't going to let that happen again. Julius, Subaru shouted. He likes attacking from blind spots. Watch your left. Julius pivoted immediately. Bot and Kaitos appeared exactly where Subaru warned, eyes gleaming. Julius's blade slashed across Bot and Kaitos' cheek, finally drawing blood. The Archbishop froze, touched the wound, then burst into ecstatic laughter. Ah, you hit me! You hit me! Amazing! Wonderful! Let's do it again! Garfield spat. This bastard's crazier than the others. But Subaru wasn't listening to Garfield. He was focused on something else. Bot and Kaitos had been hit. He could be hit. That meant he wasn't invincible. Not anymore. Everyone, Subaru shouted. He's overconfident. Use it. Hit him while he's distracted. But Bot and Kaitos suddenly turned towards Subaru, smile stretching unnaturally wide. Oh, Tilda? Giving orders now? Acting like a big boy? That's cute. He flicked forward, straight towards Subaru. Subaru! Garfield and Julius both lunged, but Bot and Kaitos was faster, much faster, his clawed hand reaching for Subaru's head. Subaru froze. This is it. Then a blast of wind magic exploded between them. Bot and Kaitos reeled backward. Julius stood there, breathing heavily, expression fierce. I said, stay behind me. Subaru stared at him in shock and gratitude. Julius. Julius nodded once, never taking his eyes off the Archbishop. You are not losing your name today. Bot and Kaitos wiped dust from his face, pouting. You're all so mean. I only wanted a little taste, Mimi shouted. Go away, meanie bug, and hurled a massive fireball. This one connected. The explosion engulfed the alley in flames. Smoke billowed, stone cracked, the ground shook. Subaru shielded his face from the heat as Garfield leapt back, covering him. Silence followed. Ricardo exhaled. Did we get him? But Subaru already knew the answer. His stomach twisted. His hands shook. The smoke cleared, and Bot and Kaitos stood unharmed, arms outstretched as if embracing the flames. His clothes charred, hair smoking, but his skin unburnt. He giggled. That tickled. Do it again, Garfield growled. This guy's body's messed up. Echidna's voice echoed from behind. His authority of gluttony grants him layered resistances. His vitality is linked to the memories he's consumed. Julius stiffened, meaning he's using other people's lives as shields. Subaru's stomach churned. He's using Rem's memories to protect himself. Baten Kaidos clapped. Ding, ding, ding. Correct. She tasted wonderful, you know. Even now, she's keeping me safe. Subaru's vision blurred with rage. You're disgusting, he whispered, and I'll rip every stolen memory out of you. The wind shifted. Baten Kaidos giggled. Then come take them. Subaru-kun. Their eyes locked. The real fight began. The ruined streets shook as Baten Kaidos' laughter echoed, shrill and fragmented, bouncing between the collapsed walls like a chorus of broken bells. Subaru's pulse hammered in his ears. The others were strong, far stronger than him, but every second the Archbishop remained standing meant Rem stayed lost, locked inside that empty sleep forever. The knowledge twisted something deep in his chest, fueling a sharp, focused anger that steeled him rather than clouded his mind. Baten Kaidos wiped imaginary tears from his eyes. You all look so serious. I love it. It makes the flavor come out so nicely. Anger, fear, sorrow. Delicious. Garfield snarled. Quit running that mouth. He lunged again, ground collapsing beneath his feet as he launched forward with explosive force. His claws traced lethal arcs in the air. But Baten Kaidos bent backward in a grotesque curve, letting Garfield's claws slice nothing but the air inches from his nose. He winked. Too slow, Tilda. Julius immediately seized the opening, wind spirits swirling around him as he thrust his rapier toward Baten Kaidos' exposed chest. But the Archbishop twisted midair like a contortionist, slipping past the blade and landing lightly on the rubble. Oh, that was close. You almost tickled me. Ricardo lunged next, swinging a massive fist that cracked the stone floor. Mimi fired a barrage of exploding flame orbs behind him, turning the alleyway into a storm of fire and debris. But again, Baten Kaidos danced between every blow with absurd grace, each movement effortless, mocking, playful. Subaru growled under his breath. Too fast, too erratic, no pattern. If brute force couldn't touch him, they needed another angle. Echidna stepped forward calmly, arms folded. You know, there is a limit to how many memories Baten Kaidos can carry without losing stability. Julius's eyes flicked toward her. Meaning? He's jittery, Echidna explained, her smile thin. Unstable. Too many stolen identities swirling around. If you disrupt his concentration, even slightly, the barrier protecting him may weaken, Garfield snarled. Then a disrupting it is. But Echidna shook her head. Brute force won't do it. You must target his mind. Subaru froze. His heart kicked violently. His mind? Echidna finally turned to him. You, Subaru, you've interacted with gluttony before. Your presence is recognizable to him. Use that. Subaru stepped back involuntarily. Me? You want me to distract that lunatic? Baten Kaidos perked up at the sound of Subaru's voice. Ooh, yes. Do it. Talk to me. I love your voice, Tilda. Subaru's skin crawled. But behind fear stood something stronger. Rem. Her sleeping face. Her missing name. Her stolen life. Subaru clenched his fists. Fine. I'll do it. Julius's eyes widened. Subaru, wait! But Subaru stepped out from behind the rubble, drawing Baten Kaidos' full attention. Hey, gluttony! Baten Kaidos' grin widened like a blooming flower. Yes. You said Rem tasted sweet. Subaru's voice was low, steady, trembling with controlled fury. You said you enjoyed eating her memories, right? Tilda. Then tell me something. Subaru's nails dug into his palms. Do you even remember what she looked like? The Archbishop blinked. His smile wavered. Just a fraction. Subaru pushed harder. Or are you just pretending? Did you devour so many memories that even her face is gone now? A twitch. A flicker. Baten Kaidos' expression spasmed violently for an instant, switching between confusion, anger, joy, and emptiness, as if his stolen identities were fighting each other for dominance. Subaru felt a surge of heat in his chest. It's working. Do you remember her voice? Subaru continued, stepping closer. Her smile. The way she said people's names? Or did you swallow all of that so quickly you didn't get to savor it? Baten Kaitos clutched his head. Shut up. Shut up, shut up, shut up. You're not special, Subaru spat. You don't even appreciate what you stole. You can't understand her. You can't even remember her properly. A shriek split the air. Baten Kaido's scream blasted the rubble aside in a shockwave of distorted mana. He trembled violently, tears streaming down his face. Not from sadness, but from overwhelming emotional overload. I remember her. I remember everything I eat, Baten Kaitos howled. Don't say I don't. Don't insult my food. Subaru stepped closer, eyes burning. Then prove it. Silence. A long, trembling silence. Then Baten Kaitos whispered, she said your name. Subaru's breath caught. She said Subaru in such a sad way. Julius's grip tightened on his sword. Ricardo's fur bristled. Mimi's ears drooped. But Subaru felt everything inside him snap into sharp focus. That's right, he murmured. She said my name, because she cared about me, because she trusted me, because she was Rem. His voice deepened. And I'm here to take her back. Baten Kaido's eyes widened, pupils shrinking to pinpricks. Then no! The Archbishop shrieked. No, no, no! Rem is mine! Her memories, her name, they're all mine! You can't have them back! The air distorted. The shadows writhed. The ground shook. This was the opening. Now! Subaru shouted. Go! Julius shot forward. Garfield roared. Ricardo charged. Mimi unleashed a blast of magic. The coordinated strike, all timed to Subaru's provocation, finally broke through Baten Kaido's guard. Garfield's claw tore across his torso. Julius's rapier pierced his shoulder. Mimi's explosion engulfed him. Baten Kaido screamed, a real scream, not excitement, not joy, but pain. For the first time, Gluttony was hurt. And Subaru didn't hesitate. He stepped forward, eyes blazing. Rem isn't yours. The battlefield trembled. She never was. Baten Kaido staggered backward, clutching his wounded side as mismatched emotions flickered violently across his face. Joy twisted into agony, agony into confusion. Confusion into rage, all switching so rapidly that it seemed as if dozens of personalities were screaming inside his skull at once. The Archbishop's body trembled like a puppet with too many hands pulling at strings. You hurt me! You hurt me! He shrieked, voice cracking with disbelief. Not allowed, not allowed, not allowed! Subaru stepped forward, breathing hard, refusing to break eye contact. That's right, I hurt you, and I'll hurt you again, because you deserve worse than this. Garfield slammed his fists together, snarling. You're damn right he does. Julius wiped blood from his cheek. His rapier raised again. Stay on guard. He'll be unpredictable now. Baten Kaido stopped trembling abruptly. His expression went blank. Then he smiled. Not the manic, childish grin from before. This one was cold, void, terrifying. You think this hurts? His voice had changed. Lower, smoother, almost adult. Ricardo flinched. That ain't the same brat speaking anymore. Echidna narrowed her eyes. Another personality, another name, another self he consumed. Baten Kaidos raised his hand slowly. If you want pain, if you want suffering, if you want loss, I'll show you. I'll show you how it feels when everything you love disappears. The air rippled. Subaru's vision blurred. What is this? He gasped. Baten Kaidos giggled, switching back to his childish tone as quickly as blinking. It's my authority, silly Subaru-kun, the authority of gluttony, memory eater. Shadows swirled around him like a cyclone of whispers. Julius's eyes widened. He's trying to target one of us. Don't let him touch you. Too late, Kaido shrieked joyfully. A tendril shot toward Julius with lightning speed. Julius! Subaru screamed. But Julius was already reacting. His blade slashed out in a perfect wind-assisted arc, cutting the tendril apart in the instant before it reached him. The severed shadow dissolved into dust. But it wasn't over. 3 more tendrils burst from the ground. Mimi hurled an explosive. Ricardo intercepted another with his claws. Garfield smashed the third with brute force. But Kaido's laughter pealed through the chaos, jagged and ecstatic. So close! I almost got one. Just a nibble. Just a tiny bite. Subaru's skin crawled. You're not getting anything from us. Then give me Rem instead, Kaito screamed, voice cracking. Let me eat the rest of her. Let me finish the meal I started. Subaru felt something inside him snap. He roared, You'll never touch her again. He sprinted forward, not with skill, not with strategy, but with raw emotion. His body moved before his mind did. Burning rage replaced exhaustion. No more running, no more helplessness, no more losing the people he loved. But Kaitos didn't dodge. He welcomed Subaru's charge. Come closer, he sang. I want to see your face when I devour her memory forever. Subaru's fist collided with his jaw. A crack rang through the air. Kaitos went skidding backward, crashing through broken stone. Everyone froze, even Garfield. Julius whispered, stunned, Subaru, you actually hit him. Subaru shook his hand in pain. I've punched worse nightmares. Kaitos lay on his back, staring at the sky, then erupted into joyous, hysterical laughter. Yes, 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 hit me more. Hit me until you break. I want to feel everything you have. He sprang back to his feet unnaturally and lunged. But Garfield intercepted with a beastly roar. His claws slammed into Kaitos's ribs, sending the Archbishop crashing into Julius' waiting blade. Julius moved with perfect precision, slicing in a pattern that forced Kaitos toward the center of the alley. Ricardo jumped in, punching him downward straight into Mimi's explosive magic circle. Mimi, boom! She screamed. The explosion engulfed Kaitos. Stone shattered. Light blazed. The air trembled. When the smoke cleared, Kaitos lay on the ground, coughing blood. Subaru stared. They had actually cornered him. The Archbishop of Gluttony? The monster who stole Remoise weakened, hurt, nearly defeated. This was their chance. Do it, Subaru shouted. Finish him. Garfield dashed forward. Ricardo moved to flank. Julius prepared a killing thrust. But Kaitos' expression twisted violently. He screamed like a child being torn apart. And suddenly a new voice echoed from the shadows behind them. A calm, soft voice. You made quite the mess, Lai. Everyone froze. Subaru's eyes widened. No, it wasn't just Lai Kaitos. A new figure stepped calmly into the moonlight, smiling faintly. Roy Alphard. Gluttony's second manifestation. You didn't think one part of us would fight alone, did you? Kaitos grinned through blood. Brother, you're late. Roy Alphard raised a hand, and the air warped. Subaru felt his heart plummet. Julius whispered in horror, he's about to use Name Eater. Roy Alphard smiled kindly. Now then, who shall I erase first? The alley darkened. The world tightened. Subaru's breath caught. The battle they thought they were winning had only just begun. The alley darkened as Roy Alphard stepped fully into the moonlight, the air bending around him like invisible threads pulling reality out of shape. Unlike Kaitos, Roy did not giggle or bounce or shriek. His movements were elegant, measured, like a noble offering a polite bow before delivering execution. His faint, almost tender smile sent a deeper chill through Subaru's spine than Kaitos' madness ever had. Now, Roy said softly, eyes sweeping across Subaru's group with a serene calm that felt more monstrous than rage. Which of you shall become forgotten first? Kaitos perked up, as if listening to a favorite lullaby. Pick the tasty ones. Pick the tasty ones. Subaru's breathing hitched. Name eater. This was the authority more dangerous than death itself. One touch, one slip, and everything you were would vanish. Your name erased, your memory stolen, your existence wiped clean like chalk in the rain. Julius stepped forward immediately, sword drawn. Everyone, do not allow him to get close. One touch is enough to lose everything. Ricardo growled. Got it. I'll rip off that hand before he even raises it. But Roy's smile widened faintly, and he shook his head. Oh no, you misunderstand. I don't need to touch you. Subaru's blood ran cold. What? Echidna, watching from the far edge of the alley, narrowed her eyes. He intends to devour someone from range. You fools, move! Too late, Roy whispered. A pulse rippled outward. Invisible. Silent. Instant. Subaru's heart lurched into his throat as Julius suddenly collapsed to one knee, gasping sharply. Julius! Subaru ran toward him. Stop! Julius shouted, forcing himself upright with trembling arms. Don't come closer! I'm still here! I'm still here! Subaru froze. What happened? Julius's eyes widened with a mix of shock and horror. He tried to consume my name. Roy watched Julius with clinical curiosity. Your bonds, remarkably resilient. Names tied to deep connections resist being consumed. Subaru felt the implication like a punch to the gut. Julius survived only because of his ties, to Ferris, to Reinhard, to the guards, to his comrades. Their recognition protected his existence. But what about Subaru? His connections to this world, to these people, were fragile. If Roy targeted him, if his name vanished, Rem would never wake. Amelia would forget him. Everyone he saved would lose him forever. Subaru's entire body trembled. Don't you dare try that on me. Roy's eyes slid to Subaru, almost amused. You have fear in your voice. How charming. Baten Kaidos giggled, skipping around Roy. Eat him, brother. Eat him. His despair tastes amazing. Subaru backed up instinctively. His mind raced. I can't let him target me. I can't let him target anyone. But how do you fight someone who can erase your name without touching you? Julius forced himself to stand again, raising his rapier with shaking hands. Stay behind me, Subaru. I'll hold him off until I lose consciousness if I must. Subaru gritted his teeth. No, we're not losing anyone. Not you. Not again. Garfield slammed his foot into the ground, cracking stone. Then we end one of them fast. Pick the little screaming one. Ricardo nodded. Agreed. The brat's weak. Smash him first. Roy sighed lightly. Always underestimating Lai. So rude. But Baten Kaidos was already retreating behind Roy, hiding behind his brother like a terrified child, though his expression was pure mischief. You can't hit me! You can't hit me! I'm safe behind Big Brother! Mimi shouted. Then we blow up Big Brother! She launched another flaming explosion. Garfield pounced. Ricardo flanked. Julius attacked the air pressure around Roy. But Roy Alfard didn't even dodge. He simply stepped aside calmly, gracefully. Every attack missed him as though reality bent around his body. Subaru's eyes widened. What? What is that? Echidna answered, voice tight with irritation. His authority of gluttony? He devours parts of the world's logic. Attacks that should hit, miss. Movements that should be impossible, occur. Roy smiled politely. Though not precise, I admit. My authority grants me certain conveniences. Everything about him felt impossible. Baten Kaidos cheered from behind Roy. He's invincible when I'm with him. When we're together, you can't kill any of us. Subaru felt his hope tremble. How do we beat something like this? Yet Julius stood firm again. Subaru, we must separate them. Subaru blinked. What? If Roy and Lai are connected, if striking one shields the other, then splitting them is the only path to victory. Ricardo nodded. We gotta isolate them. But how? Subaru demanded. Roy just phases past everything. Echidna interrupted, lips curling. Not everything. There is one thing even he cannot bypass. Subaru turned toward her, desperate. What is it? Your unpredictability, she said. My what? Echidna laughed. Roy can calculate attacks, movements, logic, but you, Subaru, her smile sharpened. You are illogical, chaotic. You don't fight with technique. You fight with instinct and desperation. He cannot predict your actions. Subaru felt a chill. So if I go after Baten Kaitos, Roy cannot protect him fast enough, Echidna finished. Everyone froze, then Garfield burst out laughing. Boss is a secret weapon? You hear that, Subaru? You're finally useful. Subaru scowled. Hey! But he knew they were right. He had no combat skill, no magic, no logic, which made him the perfect weapon against someone who predicted everything. Subaru exhaled shakily. Okay, then I'll do it. I'll draw Roy, so the rest of you take out Baten Kaitos. Julius's eyes sharpened. Understood. Ricardo grinned. Let's do this. Garfield roared. Mimi pumped her fists, and the Archbishop of Gluttony watched them all with a delighted smile, unaware that the tides were shifting. Subaru stepped forward, heart pounding. Hey, Roy, he shouted. Roy Alphard tilted his head gracefully. Yes, Natsuki Subaru. Subaru raised his middle finger. I bet you can't predict this. Roy blinked. Just once. And that tiny break, that single miscalculation was all the opening they needed. Roy Alphard blinked only once. One tiny human moment of confusion, and that was enough to snap the balance of the battlefield. Subaru didn't hesitate. He surged forward with reckless speed, fueled not by strategy or ability, but by the raw, irrational momentum that no prediction or calculation could anticipate. He wasn't a knight, a warrior, or a hero. He was chaos in human form, exactly what Echidna said Roy couldn't read. Baten Kaitos squealed with laughter. Hey, 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 Subaru's coming for me! Even as he mocked, his body tensed. The childish insanity didn't completely mask the instinctive fear that flickered across his face. Subaru running straight at him wasn't logical. It wasn't tactical. It wasn't sane. And because of that, Roy Alphard froze for a fraction too long. Subaru dove past Roy's extended hand. If that had touched him, he would have been erased, and rolled across the broken ground. His knees scraped against gravel, skin tearing, but he didn't feel the pain. All he saw was Baten Kaitos, his target, the monster who stole Rem's very existence. Garfield roared behind him, using Subaru's charge as cover. Now, you little rat! He slammed into Roy Alphard like a moving wall of muscle. Roy staggered. Not much, but enough. His authority couldn't fully erase Garfield's raw power. Garfield forced him back by sheer strength alone. Julius lunged next, wind spiraling around him. Subaru, go, he shouted. We'll hold Roy. Ricardo and Mimi flanked them, creating a barrier of claws and explosions that forced Roy to defend instead of intervene. For the first time, Baten Kaitos was alone. His eyes widened with an emotion Subaru hadn't expected to see. Fear. No fair, no fair, no fair, no fair, he screamed, backing up. You're supposed to be weak, useless, powerless. You can't hurt me. Subaru's breath tore out of his throat as he sprinted. Watch me. Baten Kaitos stumbled, his heel hitting a broken stone. Subaru leapt, swinging his arm in a wide arc, fist clenched so tightly it felt like bone might crack. This is for Rem. His fist slammed into Baten Kaitos' face. There was a sickening crack. Baten Kaitos flew backward, crashing into the wall so hard the stone fractured. Dust billowed. His body crumpled, twitching, his smile shattered into distorted spasms. Subaru fell to his knees, panting, sweat stinging his eyes. He couldn't believe he had actually landed a blow with real force, one that made the Archbishop bleed. But there was no time to celebrate. Baten Kaitos lifted his head slowly. The smile returned, but it was different now. Broken, trembling, desperate. You hit me again. Subaru-kun, you really did it. His voice cracked. And that means I get to eat you now. Subaru's stomach turned cold. The ground beneath him darkened. A shadow exploded upward. Subaru, move! Julius screamed from behind, but he was pinned by Roy's counters. Garfield and Ricardo shouted warnings, but they were locked in their own clashes. The tendril shot toward Subaru's throat, a blur intercepted. Boom! An explosion of blue light erupted. Beatrice stood between Subaru and the tendril, her tiny figure blazing with pure mana, hair fluttering wildly as runes circled her palms. You do not touch Subaru, I suppose, she shouted, voice shaking with fury. Not now, not ever. Her defensive spell collided with Botankaitos' attack and held. Barely, Botankaitos shrieked. No fair, no fair. She has so much mana. She's tasty. I want her too. Beatrice's eyes narrowed with a coldness Subaru rarely saw. Betty will never allow you to lay a finger on her contractor. You gluttonous worm. She stomped the ground. Apostle of greed. El Barrera. Her barrier flared outward, a massive dome of light that hurled Botankaitos backward again. Subaru scrambled to his feet. Biko! She didn't look at him. Her face was fierce, furious, protective. Focus, Subaru. Now is not the time for tears, I suppose. Echidna's voice drifted from somewhere behind them. Botankaitos' defenses are down. Strike now while Roy is distracted. Subaru didn't hesitate. He rushed Botankaitos again. This time he didn't hesitate. He didn't flinch. He didn't stop to think. His body moved on instinct alone. Botankaitos swung a tendril, but Subaru ducked beneath it. He threw himself forward, grabbing the Archbishop by the collar and slamming him into the ground. Give! Rem! Back! He punched him again. And again. And again. Each blow sent pain shooting up Subaru's arm. Each impact made Botankaitos' grin falter, twitch, break. The Archbishop's nose shattered. Blood sprayed. His face contorted into a mixture of horror and disbelief. You can't! You can't! He gasped. I'm gluttony. I'm unkillable. I'm immortal. You're nothing, Subaru roared. He grabbed Botankaitos by the throat, forcing him down. You think you can steal people's lives and just laugh? That you can take Rem and walk away? That you can torture people and remain untouchable? Botankaitos' eyes widened with real terror. No, stop! Stop looking at me like that! Subaru! Subaru shook him violently. I'm ending you. Here, now. Rem belongs to herself. Beatrice stepped beside him, magic glowing. Subaru, move! Subaru rolled aside. Beatrice unleashed a spell so bright it erased the shadows. Elminia! A lance of pure light pierced Botankaitos' chest. His scream tore through the ruins. His body convulsed, collapsing as the tendrils dissolved. Brother! Roy Alfard screamed from behind Julius, his eyes wide with panic for the first time. Botankaitos reached a trembling hand toward Subaru. Re-em, he whispered. Then his body stilled. Subaru stared down at the Archbishop who had stolen Rem's name. He had fallen. He was defeated. The ground trembled. A wind rushed upward. And Subaru felt something break free in the air memory. A fragment of a name. A piece of Rem, returning. Subaru choked on a sob. Rem, we're getting you back. But the victory lasted only seconds. Roy's scream pierced the night, a scream of agony, a scream of rage, a scream of loss. He wasn't done. Not even close. Rezero Volume 19 Extended Summary. Part 11, Final Part. Approximately 901,000 words. Emotional, climactic, paragraph-only narration, concluding the Volume 19 summary. Botankaitos' body hit the ground with a dull, final thud. The oppressive weight of his manic laughter evaporated as his tendrils melted into nothingness, leaving only silence where madness once lingered. Subaru collapsed onto his knees, chest heaving, sweat and dust clinging to his face. His knuckles throbbed from striking Botankaitos again and again. His breath trembled with the realization. They did it. The monster who devoured Rem's name was gone. A shimmer of light drifted upward from Botankaitos' lifeless foreform, Glowing fragments, motes of memory, pieces of stolen identity swirling like fireflies in the dark. Subaru reached out reflexively, but the fragments slipped through his fingers like warm mist. Echidna murmured behind him, voice uncharacteristically soft. The pieces of Rem's memory. They're returning to the world. But not to her, not yet. Subaru's heart clenched. Why? Why not? Beatrice knelt beside him, placing a small hand on his shoulder. Because her name is still stolen, I suppose. Rem's memories can't return properly until all three gluttony fragments are defeated. Subaru's breath caught painfully. 3 fragments, but they had slain only one. And Roy Alphard was very much alive. The reminder arrived with a sound, a guttural scream filled the ruins. Lie! Roy Alphard's voice tore from his throat. Not elegant or composed anymore, but raw, shaking, primal. Rage warped the serene mask he had worn until now, distorting his expression into something animalistic. The air twisted around him, as though reality was bending to contain the violent grief of a devouring god. Subaru staggered to his feet, leaning on Beatrice. Everyone, get ready. Garfield growled, blood dripping from his nose. Boss, that ain't just anger. That's a creature who lost a part of itself. Julius steadied his blade, face pale but eyes fierce. He may lose control entirely. That could be more dangerous than his calculated attacks. Roy Alphard stood trembling, drool mixing with blood as his body twisted. How dare you? His voice cracked. You stole my brother. You stole my brother, my other self, my feast, my meal, my everything. He screamed again and the ground split open beneath him. Ricardo cursed. Oh hell, this ain't good. Mimi hid behind Ricardo's leg. What's wrong with his face? It's all wiggly. Echidna's eyes widened, not with delight this time, but with cautious intrigue. He's losing coherence. Gluttony operates as a set. When one fragment dies, the balance collapses. Roy is unraveling, becoming unstable. Beatrice's voice dropped to a whisper, meaning his authority will go wild, in fact. A pulse blasted outward from Roy, forcing everyone back several steps. Subaru shielded his face, teeth gritted. Damn it, he's going berserk! Roy Alphard staggered forward, eyes unfocused, expression fractured between grief, rage, and hollow despair. You all stole something from me. So I'll steal everything from you. He thrust out his hand, a wave of invisible energy ripped through the alley. Julius barely dodged, slicing a counterwind to divert the blast. Garfield slammed his claws into the ground to anchor himself. Ricardo shielded Mimi, taking a cut across his shoulder. Echidna simply stepped aside with unnatural grace. Beatrice expanded her barrier around Subaru, sparks flying as Roy's authority struck it. Beatrice hissed. His power is rising too fast. Subaru, stay back! Subaru shook his head violently. No! If we don't stop him, Rem will never wake! Roy shrieked, voice cracking. I'll eat your memories. I'll eat your names. I'll eat your everything until you cease to exist. He lunged, but Subaru ran toward him. Garfield snarled, Boss, don't! Julius shouted, Subaru, stop! Beatrice screamed, Subaru, come back, I suppose? Subaru didn't stop. He couldn't. Roy Alphard was the key to getting back Rem's name. If Roy escaped, if Roy devoured him, if Roy lived, Rem might sleep forever. Subaru skidded across the cracked stones, diving under Roy's outstretched hand. One brush would erase his existence, and slammed into Roy's knees, knocking the Archbishop off balance. Roy shrieked, rage bubbling. Worthless insect! Subaru crawled backward desperately as Garfield pounced, slamming into Roy like a golden beast. The impact shook the street. Julius dropped from the side, slicing his blade across Roy's back. Ricardo struck with raw force, punching Roy's spine. Roy screamed, eyes bulging, body convulsing. No, 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 no! Mimi hurled a powerful explosive spell at point-blank range. The blast drowned Roy's screams. Light swallowed everything, stone shattered. Wind tore through the ruins and Subaru fell backward from the shockwave. When the dust settled, Roy Alphard lay face down, body twitching. Beatrice pulled Subaru to his feet, breathing fast. Careful, he might not be. Roy lifted his head, slowly, agonizingly. His eyes were hollowed out completely. No sanity, no intelligence. Only raw, hungry instinct. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. He swayed and fell, motionless, dead. Garfield collapsed to one knee. We got him. Julius exhaled deeply, lowering his blade. It's over. At last. Ricardo wiped his brow. That was the toughest meal I ever fought. Mimi cheered faintly. Yay, we did it. Subaru stared. Baten Kaitos, dead. Roy Alphard, dead. Only Raknera remained. But Baten Kaitos was the one who devoured Rem's name. With him gone, a faint warmth brushed Subaru's chest. A drifting piece of memory. A familiar scent. A whisper. Mate. Subaru. His eyes stung. It's coming back. Beatrice touched his hand gently. Rem's name. The barrier on it is weakening. She might wake soon, I suppose. Subaru fell to his knees, tears spilling freely. Rem, please. But their victory was incomplete. Echidna cleared her throat softly. Save your hope for later, Subaru. One fragment remains. Subaru looked up sharply. Rashnera. Echidna nodded. If you want Rem fully restored, every memory, every name, your journey isn't done. Subaru wiped his eyes, stood shakily, and turned to face the ruins. Then he whispered, voice steady. I'll finish this. For Amelia. For Rem. For everyone Gluttony stole from. And thus, the final hunt began.